So, Epic Games, they announced the Unreal Engine 5. And you might have noticed I had a show with Handsome Dave,
I did.
and we were arguing about the merits of the PS5 versus Xbox Series X. And Dave came down on the side of Xbox Series X just based on the specs. And we were speculating whether do the specs really matter in this case, because the Xbox is a little bit better. And I say a little bit because you're talking about one has a processor with is 3.5 gigahertz, while another one has 3.8. And if you know anything about computers, that's nothing.
That's nothing in speed, yeah. Well, yeah, I know a little bit about computers.
Yeah. So it's like that's negligible as far as computing power. Now, if it was twice the speed of the PlayStation processor, you might have something to talk about. The RAM is the same though. The hard drive space is almost the same. They're both using the SSD. You know, the PlayStation is a little bit smaller though. It's like 800 gigabytes versus the 1 terabyte.
But I read an article on the SSD that the PlayStation is using, and is better than PC.
That's what I.
SSD.
But see, when we did that show, that hadn't come out, and then we hadn't really seen anything running on a PlayStation either, PlayStation 5. And then Epic Games came out with this trailer. Have you seen it?
I have seen stills of it. I haven't watched the video.
Well, we're about to watch it. So
there was a tech channel that was covering it.
Here we go. I'm going to skip ahead.
Hello, I'm Brian Karras, Technical Director of Graphics here at Epic Games.
Hi, I'm Jérôme Plateau, Art Director of the Special Project.
A few years ago, we got together as a team and brainstormed where we thought we could push forward the state-of-the-art in real-time graphics. There were two key areas that stood out. The first, dynamic global illumination. Beautiful bounce lighting, instantaneously.
I don't have to be constrained to do a game where the world has to be set.
I'm going to stop it right here because I can't understand this French guy. It was kind of annoying. It's like they couldn't give us like subtitles or something because I can't understand a word he's saying. But I'm just going to go ahead and we'll see the demo because they have they say it's a actual gameplay. It's not a cinematic trailer like they've been doing with Xbox. It's actually gameplay. And there's people online say, oh, it's not going to look like that. And they do have a basis for being doubtful because I think a few years back, I think with PS3, they had a demo. What was that game? I forget the game, but it was a science fiction game. They had a demo of it, and they said this is going to be the real gameplay. And then later they admitted that it was actually pre-rendered.
Yeah, cinematic rendering.
Yeah, so they kind of lied. They basically lied. So this could be the same situation. But man, the way this thing looks, if this is real gameplay, this is gonna.
Well,
I'm definitely getting a PlayStation. What I'm saying. Let's go ahead and just play it real quick though. Get this over with.
yeah, I'm getting a PS5 as well. Now, pay attention here to like the surface structures, the ground, the rock. This was what was so impressive.
Let's stop a moment and take a look at some of the key features of this demo. Much of what you see was built with Quixel Megascan assets, but instead of using the game versions, we used the cinematic versions, which would typically only be used in film. There are around 1 million triangles each, and thanks to virtual texturing, they all use 8K textures as well. Nanite can render an insane number of triangles very quickly. There are over 1 billion triangles of source geometry in each frame that Nanite crunches down losslessly to around 20 million drawn triangles. What does that many triangles look like? This isn't noise. These are the triangles, each a different color. Most are so small that they look like noise. Nanite achieves detail down to the pixel, which means triangles are often the size of pixels. This amount of geometric detail requires shadows to be pixel accurate as well, and Nanite can do that too. Speaking of lighting, all of the lighting in this demo is completely dynamic. with the power of Lumen that even includes multi-bounce global illumination. No light maps, no baking here. Without GI, all of that beautiful lighting is gone. With Lumen enabled, we can move the light and the bounce changes instantly.
That's nuts.
Okay, let's keep going. We've made some great additions to our audio system as well. Convolution reverb allows us to measure reverberation characteristics of real spaces, like actual caves that we sampled, and reproduce them in virtual spaces. Sound field rendering allows us to record and play back spatialized audio. All of this adds up to a more immersive experience. This swarm of bats was created with our Niagara effects system. Particles in Niagara can now talk to one another and understand their environment like never before. We've also added a ton of new functionality to run fluid simulations like you see in the water below. The demo runs on our Chaos Physics system. Here we are using it to accurately simulate the rigid bodies of the falling rocks and the cloth of her scarf. Now that the environment is so complex, we've needed to greatly improve our animation systems to adapt. We've added predictive foot placement and motion warping, which dynamically modifies IK and body position to look more natural. For the character to more realistically interact with the environment, we've added the ability to trigger seamless contextual animation events, like her hand on the door.
Looks promising.
Dynamic GI is amazing, not just for speeding up iteration, but also for its impact on gameplay.
Nice.
Any light source can move while
It
still
might
having
be.
beautiful bounce lighting. Dynamic illumination means specular as well, which you can see on all the metal surfaces. You can even see the Niagara-powered bugs reacting to the light. Lumen not only reacts to moving light sources, but also changes in geometry. Remember we mentioned high poly assets? This statue was imported directly from ZBrush and is more than 33 million triangles. No baking of normal maps, no authored LODs. And we can do more than a single statue. There are nearly 500 of that exact statue at the same detail level placed in this room, for a total of over 16 billion triangles from statues alone. Over this entire demo, there are hundreds of billions of triangles. So with Nanite, you have limitless geometry, and with Lumen, you have fully dynamic lighting and global illumination, all running on a PlayStation 5.
There's not much time left.
And this doesn't need to be constrained to small rooms. It can stretch all the way to the horizon.
The portal, it's open. Don't fail me now. Time to see what's next.
First question. What is that game?
That's I just think they made it for the demo.
Really?
Yeah. That's why there's a lot of people saying, nah, it's not. I'm watching it this time, I was like, especially when she goes outside at the end and flies, I'm like looking at all those different mountains and stuff that have to be rendered. I'm like, how big would that download be?
Well, you know that The Last of Us 2, I think was 51 gigabytes. Is going to be 51 gigabytes download. So that means
Like what? What? No, I'm sorry.
The Last of Us 2. No. 500 gigabytes. Mm-hmm. Because if you had just a regular PS4, you would have to remove everything off of it to play The Last of Us 2 on it, because it only has a 500 gig hard drive on it. So
no, I got a Pro.
But if you got a Pro and you don't have, 700 gigs of stuff on it already,
you don't have Call of Duty. If you have Call of Duty, you're gonna have to delete it because Call of Duty is like 200 gigabytes.
But so what they're going to do with this, The Last of Us 2, I'm a big fan of the Last of Us series. Big fan. We'll be playing all the way through when it comes out.
Okay.
But so what's going to happen is they're going to release The Last of Us 2, and then this Christmas season we get the PS5, right? So what are they going to do? It's the PS5 is going to be backwards compatible, but I figure a year after the release of The Last of Us 2, maybe 2 years,
get it remastered.
They're going to get it remastered. And so I'm very freaking excited about the PS5. There's been so much talk about how the consoles have been losing to PC for quite a while now, right? In the frame rates and the rendering capabilities, the graphics capabilities, the speed of processing these games. With these two new consoles coming out, Xbox X, One X, is it? Xbox One X, I think is what it is.
No, it's Xbox Series X.
Series X, okay.
Microsoft, let me just comment on that. Microsoft sucks at naming stuff.
Well, dude, we can go on about that because we're talking about them going from Windows XP to Windows 7 to 8, which made sense, to 8.1 to 10. And then who knows what the next one's going to be.
But they went from, Xbox 360, which doesn't make any sense because that's like a complete circle, 360.
Right.
It should have been 180.
Yeah.
And the last one was Xbox One. And then it's going to be Series X. What the hell is this naming scheme? They just do is random.
Yeah, whatever they feel.
It's so freaking random. Just name it Xbox 1, 2, 3, 4, 5.
The following.
Like PlayStation. That's why I do not like Microsoft. I said this on the last show.
They've completely screwed up Minecraft.
God, they screw up everything.
Because Minecraft used to be awesome, and now it's like when it renders in when you're playing Minecraft, especially the PS4 version of Minecraft, when it renders in, sometimes it'll just completely, crap the bed, and you're seeing all the underlying stuff of a Minecraft world instead of the stuff you built. It's just ridiculous. But anyway, I'm excited about PS5 and the fact that it in some ways is going to surpass PC. The new way that they're rendering graphics, their processing speeds, their frame rates are all going to be up there to compete with PC gaming. Now, PC gaming will probably step there.
I mean, it's not even, but the specs on these consoles, next console, they're not even the top of the PC specs. They're like what would have been top like 3 years ago, maybe 5 years ago.
Yeah, I think that they focused on the things they can do better.
I mean, what they could make PCs that are top of the line. They could make consoles that are top of the line PCs right now, but it would cost too much.
Well, right. And now, granted, I say this as far as the specs beating PCs at the same price range. You know what I'm saying?
Okay.
Because, man, you buy a $6,000 PC or build a $6,000 PC, a console's not going to touch that thing.
No. Oh, no.
Not even come close. I'm saying, I guess I should have said that initially. It's going to be things that are similar.
This iMac I have that came out in 2017 has better specs than the next generation of console.
Right.
All my specs are better.
But
at every level.
But how much did you pay for that thing?
Yeah, exactly. But Macs
if they had a $4,000 PlayStation,
but Macs are always even Handsome Dave was doing it. Macs are always mocked for being behind, and even my Mac is better than this next generation.
Right.
That's what I'm saying. So
I guess
I think I got like a 4.2. I don't even care as long as my computer can run Final Cut Pro really fast. That's the only thing I care about because I'm not going to game on this thing. I mean, I probably should because I can get a lot of great content, and I do have Windows 10 that on an external. But I did all this work getting that thing to work, and then I booted it up 2 times and moved on. But this Mac is 4.2 gigahertz, 32 gigs
i7
of RAM. Yeah, i7. The only thing about the same,
DDR4.
even I don't know, maybe their video card might be better. Mine is 4 gigabyte Radeon Pro. Is it 8?
I think so.
I think theirs are 8. So it's a little bit better for that. And I got a 1 terabyte hard drive.
And that's really the most noticeable difference from the previous console versions to PCs of the same, price point, is that the graphics were far and above better. But that was one area where the consoles could improve, and it made a noticeable difference. So, and from that trailer that we just watched, it's obviously
if it's really gameplay. Like I said,
yeah.
Their main reason for releasing that video is to sell Unreal Engine.
Right.
So,
well, I'll buy
they have a motive for kind of stacking the.
And if they built that specifically to sell the Unreal Engine, that gameplay, I mean, because I would play that game. That looked pretty cool.
Yeah, it looked like Tomb Raider or something.
That's what I thought it was at first until she did that thing out of her hand.
The thing I know is the character models aren't that more complex than the ones we have now, though.
Right, but I don't think that was their focus on this. It
was impressive. They're using but they're basically taking the CGI they're using in movies, which has gotten really good.
Oh.
Back in the early days of CGI was terrible, but now there's things they put they make CGI in movies now. You don't even know it's CGI.
Nope,
and then you'll do a behind the scenes video and you'll see all this stuff and you're like, that was fake? It's like shocking, all the stuff that, I mean, you can't even tell.
Right.
Well, it's because we got all these fast computers now, they can render this stuff at such a high quality, you're not going to be able to tell.
Right.
I mean, to give you an example, I'm not even here right now.
I know. I rendered him in. You know?
We're filming at opposite side. No, I'm joking.
We don't have a setup quite like that.
We could do it though. I got a green screen. I could very well do it, but it'd be too much trouble.